Hello and welcome to another We Are Developers Live, the first one of 2026. And we both back, and I have a cold, so there might be a coughing fit coming in anytime soon. And we also have a guest today who is actually has a snowstorm coming in his direction. So it might be that we're just halfway through an hour, so we're gonna get people basically locked out. How about you, Dan? What's on your end? Like, how's it on the island?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to be back. I was obviously in Brazil over the Christmas, so it's coming back to very, very cold weather, but not as bad as our guests. So I won't moan about it too much. I won't be that British stereotype and come on and moan about the weather.
Well, we got snow here in Berlin, so that's pretty cool. And actually, it's for a few days now. So you see people with sleds outside on the roads and stuff, and people you realize who knows how to drive cars and who doesn't. And that's the other interesting part there. And of course, there's this big thing in Berlin right now where somebody set fire to a big electric grid line, and basically the southernmost part of the city is without electricity and without internet from Sunday to Thursday. They said they're going to finish it by Thursday, and people, it was anarchists that basically set fire to it and basically said, like, I don't know what their goal was, but it shows just how vulnerable our infrastructure still is to a degree, you know?
Yeah, it's true, and how reliant we all are on the internet as well. Because my first thought was when you said, they've got no electricity, no etc. I sort of thought more about the fact, no internet though for 4 days, which says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no heating, there's no hot water, because a lot of people have electric heating rather than oil and gas, which is a good idea. But at the same time, it makes us kind of dependent. So I was wondering about this, and maybe people in the audience know, or people outside know. When it comes to like really low temperatures, are electric cars or are gasoline cars better? Like, which ones are more resilient towards bad weather? I was wondering about this. Like, I would guess, I mean, like iPads and stuff, they say don't get them under 20 degrees centigrade, but I don't know how it is with cars. I know that the Cybertruck has this problem that when snow goes on the front, it covers the lights, so you can actually don't see anything anymore. So the first Cybertrucks that were built, obviously in California, when people drove them in the snow, they basically had to get out and clean the front every half hour. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I wonder though as well that the country that you live in, because it's when you were saying then about you've got this snow in Germany, and my first thought was we are so badly prepared for any kind of extreme weather in the UK, right? We need it a little bit rainy or a little bit sunny, somewhere in between that. Anything outside of that, we're not made for it. But it'd be interesting to ask our guests, because I know that they're in a near Switzerland and in a very snowy part of the world, and how you prepare for all that and how you kind of live with it as part of your daily existence.
Cool. So let's bring him in. Welcome, Tarek Ziadé from Mozilla.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Well, yeah, like you said, it's been crazy around here because we're not really ready about snow either. Like every year we're like, yeah, we should be better next year, but it's not happening. I live in Burgundy. It's like a 2-hour drive from Switzerland to where I am. And it's really cold compared to other places in France. And right now, it like yesterday morning, it was -10, and there's still a lot of snow. I think it's getting better tomorrow, so we should be okay.
When I lived in Stockholm, I found it really interesting that Swedish people are totally prepared for the weather. Like, there's no issue at all. Like the underground is not heated as much as it is in England or in Germany. Like that's always the problem. If you're in a city and it's snowing outside, you're actually sweating in the tube, and then you get outside and then you get a cold. Like there, they don't heat up the trains as much. They just basically just to be comfortable, but not to be sweating. So these are the little details that people don't think about at all. And I mean, Switzerland, the whole thing with that club that burned down, it's such an absolutely tragical moment as well. Like, and I saw the news yesterday about it, and they had like sparklers on top of champagne bottles, and they set the ceiling on fire, and it was down in the basement that the stairs weren't wide enough, so people died down there because they actually. The last time they checked, it was 1996 or something, that if all the fire things are the right thing. And it was interesting to see the interviews because they kept repeating, it's Switzerland. People didn't plan things in Switzerland, and we didn't organize things in Switzerland. They were all confused about that one. But Yeah, what a tragedy. It's just, especially at New Year's, that's just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah,
But
terrible news.
anyways, let's talk about some tech things and more happier things. So we got Tarek in today because he works at Mozilla at the moment, and he works on a lot of the AI stuff in Mozilla. And we're going to come back to that in more detail when it comes to the guest topics. But I found it interesting to get somebody who is actually in the nitty gritty and can talk from the trenches, because it seems like a lot of browsers are moving away from being a browser to being an AI agent platformy thing, and it comes with all kind of privacy and security issues. So it's good to have somebody here who's an expert at it that we can talk about some more details later on. But let's talk about some news first of all. So I found that interesting that Reddit overtakes TikTok in the UK as search resolution unfolds. I mean, that's quite a mouthful, the whole search revolution thing. But
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Reddit is such a big thing, because it's not where I am. I mean, you said you use it mostly for reading rather than posting, but it seems I missed out on Reddit because it seems to have like quite a fan base.
It feels a little bit like WhatsApp in a way, you know, where it's like, depending which part of the world you're in, it's either going to be like massively popular or not at all. I think for me, you know, Reddit's always been that kind of nerdy little corner of the internet, and you know, it gets talked about as sort of the I don't even know how to kind of phrase it. That it's not talked about in a very positive way. It's usually quite a negative thing. But I've definitely, you know, this article hits on something that I have definitely noticed. That's, you know, when you see these AI summaries, you often don't see the source with them, but it is there if you look for it. And it nearly always leads back to Reddit. And it seems to be that it's sort of this, I think we talked about it earlier, Chris, as like, it's almost like a Stack Overflow for everything. It's not just tech topics. You treat it in the same way, right? You go there, you don't always expect to see the perfect response or kind of all of the information, but if you read enough of the comments, you can piece it together. And I like that kind of mixture of the content with all of the comments on it, and then there's some sense of like upvoting and downvoting. So I think it does kind of link in well. It makes sense with that search would be kind of looking towards Reddit for these kind of long, detailed posts about very specific subjects like Stack Overflow. How about you, Tarek? Do you use it? Have you used it in the past? Do you come across it in search results?
You mean Stack Overflow?
Or
No,
Reddit?
Reddit.
Oh, Reddit. Yeah. A lot of the time, and it's really annoying when you're like on your phone or in that it tries to get you to their app, because I really like to stay in the browser for that. But yeah, it's interesting. It's always on the top of the topics I'm looking for. Well, and Stack Overflow as well. But yeah, I tend to. It's interesting because I don't search the same way I search when I'm on my phone as opposed to desktop. It's a different mental model, and I think places like Reddit, for some reason, for me, are always showing up more often when I'm on my phone compared to the desktop. I'm not sure why. I need to think about it. But yeah, it's interesting. This link with TikTok.
Yeah, and I mean, I have kind of like an apple pear comparison to me. Like, I mean, I don't go to TikTok to learn things. I don't go to TikTok, period. But like, I mean, basically, it's like an addiction machine. It's like a distraction machine. Whereas like Reddit is more like subcultures getting a channel, much like forums used to be, and these kind of things, or IRC channels used to be. So that's the thing. Is Mozilla still using IRC internally? Because I remember when I worked there, it was all IRC. Is that still happening?
No, RSC is gone. Well, now we have two systems. We have Matrix for all the Mozilla projects. So you can go to chat.mozilla.org and you get Matrix. Is it called Matrix or Element? I think Element is the software and Matrix is the underlying system. And for internal stuff, we have Slack now. But yeah, Matrix is what we use these days. But to be honest, I'm that old guy that re-enjoyed RC, and I kind of miss it. So
God, imagine XDCC connections with like our internet speeds these days. Like back then, like one MP3 was like 6 hours to download, and like now it would be like immediate. It was just interesting to see. I always saw IRC as like a multiplayer text pad, and yeah, it feels like that the simplicity of it. I mean, it's still there. The network hasn't shut down. There's lots of IRC net servers, FNet servers, these kind of things. But yeah, it's about old people stuff. And Dan's like, what the fuck is IRC?
No, I remember it. I remember it. I just never. It did feel like something. I was like, I don't know how to access this. I was kind of very much like chat rooms, and it was kind of those days for me. But yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the emojis. All those kids, they want to put emojis in their message. That's why RC died at some point.
I'm still typing colon minus and bracket when I do a smiley. I mean, like that's how it became ingrained with me. This is an interesting because that went around all the places, like this chart where basically it shows like how the Reddit at Stack Overflow number of Stack Overflow questions as reported by the public query tool, how it basically goes down to nothing right now. And I think there's two sides to that. First of all is like Stack Overflow, people get the AI results from search boxes and from search engines, but also Reddit Stack Overflow basically, there was an outrage of people saying like we put so much content in and now you actually sell it to other people or you index it yourself, and there was not enough transparency about what's happening with the data. But this is really brutal if you think about it. And I mean, they're nice chaps. I mean, they're partners of ours. We had them on our conference several times, but it's going to be interesting if Stack Overflow can survive the way it does right now, or if it goes the way. But then Quora is still around, and I didn't know that was still a thing. So these things, the knowledge engines don't go away that fast. I mean, even experts exchange, which was always a very, very unfortunate domain because it could be experts exchange as well. But that one's still around. So these things don't die, but then now they're getting indexed to death by AI engines, I guess. But this was basically doing the rounds that, yeah. I mean, sometimes I went to Stack Overflow and commented, but I normally commented on GitHub on repos directly, or on PHP. I did it on the documentation directly. In MDN, I did it on the documentation directly. I always felt like Stack Overflow was like a gateway drug to the real documentation things. But yeah, it seems like people don't go there to ask questions anymore.
Yeah. So do you know if there is a similar drop for Wikipedia, or because like I'm wondering if this is only because of AI, the drop in Stack Overflow, or if it's related to other causes. And
well, Wikipedia is a different one because, I mean, there's not that many editors. You have to be a Wikipedia editor to be allowed to actually post things. You don't post comments and stuff like that. But the traffic of Wikipedia went through the roof because of all the AI bots scraping it. It was like the number one resource for everybody to train their engines on. They even put the Wikipedia data on Hugging Face, so people can use it as a weighted model instead of just scraping the website. But people still kept scraping the website. And I think it was like 400 times four times the traffic they had before. Like, yeah, but I wonder if people edit less on Wikipedia, but I think they do more because right now Wikipedia is the only truth out there to a degree. That's still like a federated system that's not controlled by somebody.
Let me rephrase this. I guess my question is more about, are people still feeding knowledge to Wikipedia like they used to? Or is it going to die like what might happen to Stack Overflow because people stop contributing content? So I'm wondering what's going to happen to Wikipedia if people are going to contribute content or not in the future.
I hope so. I mean, it's the poster child of a leaderless organization that actually became like the big thing. You could not pay for Wikipedia. Like before that, you had the Encyclopedia Britannica, you had like the encyclopedias and stuff, but like nobody would have done that for money that people did for Wikipedia. The way it grew so fast, and then I mean, we got Rockipedia now from Elon Musk that basically is all AI generated and is like 90% scraping Wikipedia and then removing all the things he doesn't like. But I think that it is a common good. I'm actually donating to Wikipedia a lot, and I'm actually I used to edit as well, but I didn't have time anymore. But I might be doing that again because I think it's really worthwhile. And it's interesting because there's new platforms coming out all the time, and then they become very commercialized. And this one was the one that survived long enough to basically not change much. It's a bit like Craigslist. It's like it looks the same in 1996 than now. You know? I also like that one. We had an SEO geo guy last time here, and this person hopes that like generative AI does away with SEO. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hate how SEO basically messed up the internet to a degree, but at the same time now with geo, it's probably even worse. And yeah, it feels like it feels frustrating. We do all this good content here. We write great stuff. We publish things. In the past, people found your stuff, and you got clicks, and people came in. And nowadays, an AI bot indexes it, shows it somewhere else. You have no idea where it's being shown, and people are actually not going to the pages anymore. They just stay within the bot. And I wonder what we can do about this to make sure that I hope it's still like in the past that good content prevails and comes out front and top, but it's really tricky. And we found, for example, YouTube. Back in the days, you put a tutorial on YouTube and people found it. Thousands of people watched it. Nowadays, you can forget about reaching the front page on YouTube unless you spend a lot of money. It's the whole idea of saying like build good content and YouTube will promote it for you. It's not going to happen because they have thousands of people that pay money to get their stuff shown. And it's the same with search results. And I found it interesting. And I don't know how Gen AI can do away with SEO because, in essence, if anything, people put more content in pages right now for AI crawlers, right? I mean, I've seen hidden text, I've seen like hashtag spam, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, last week I've read interesting stuff around ads. Some people are saying that they don't get any more revenue, like benefits from buying ads at Google because people don't use search engine as they used to before, and they're like some people are worried like, what do I do now? How do I promote my small company? How do I do that since like I don't get any traffic anymore from Google ads because people are changing how they find stuff and search for stuff. So it's a little bit related to SEO. Like, why would you optimize your stuff for browser for search engine if people don't go through search engine anymore to find you? So that came as a real question for that guy. Like, how do I promote my small company now? Where do I go to do that? Like, there is no way to add promotion or ads inside ChatGPT or whatever. So where do I tell the world I exist anymore? Like, that was a real worry from that guy.
Yeah. Well, not yet. I mean, the latest ChatGPT, somebody disassembled the APK for the Android version, and it shows ads. That basically that they're planning to show ads inside ChatGPT soon, which is not surprising, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess that's gonna move there. I mean, maybe that's what's gonna kill the old, like the current ad based stuff and all the SEO.
We'll see. On to nicer things. The public every year when there's a new year out, then basically I don't know why it's not doing that anymore. Okay, fair enough. Hello. Okay. Cool. Yeah, every year, 2026, new things coming to the public domain, and I love that because people bring out like ebooks and really nice versions of it, and good songs and things you can use. I think the big thing is Betty Boop is basically all Quiet on the Western Front and all these bits. And what I love as well is like when these things become public domain, you can do whatever with it. There's most random things coming out. I mean, last year or the year before, it was Winnie the Pooh, and then somebody did like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, like a horror version with Winnie the Pooh where it kills people, and because they could. And it's just, I love that these things that sometimes Internet Archive is great to just read free stuff.
Yeah, and there's, I think at the spirit of it, Chris, I think I was thinking this when I was looking at this article, actually, because I've always loved, things like Creative Commons, public domain, the fact that every year there's these things that end their copyright restrictions, so they fall into the public domain, so you can start using them and remixing them. And then I thought, actually, on the kind of medium of programming, it's more remixable, is like built in, isn't it? If you think about what kind of GitHub is at its core, it's somebody saying, here's some content, remix it, do what you want to do to it, extend it. And we're so lucky, really, that there is so much out there that's just free for us to use.
Yeah.
We don't really get these announcements like public domain, but there's people out there that are writing amazing code, making something, and then saying, just have it, do what you want to do. So I love this. It's great.
I mean, we got the whole thing about free as in puppy with open source code, because you're actually supposed to treat it well and contribute back and do things with it. But like that was a discussion I had for years and years, telling people that open source isn't free. Open source is free to use by making it better and contributing to it. And sadly enough, not a lot of that is happening at the moment. Now, in headlines that I thought would not happen, but did happen, at Hamburg had the Chaos Computer Club yearly convention, and it's always like the biggest hacker thing in Germany. Absolutely amazing conference. I've been there a few times, and sadly enough, a lot of the content is in German. So a lot of the content that you've seen over the last few years, you wouldn't be able to do unless you translate it and stuff. And this guy or girl, we're not quite sure, or whatever they are, came on stage and actually as a pink Power Ranger, and deleted a white supremacist website live on stage during that conference. And basically got actually, he infiltrated it before, and then he used AI bots actually to agents to actually scrape the whole thing and post the content. I looked at the content a bit. I didn't download the whole thing. It's like 100 gigabyte data set, but they made it possible as well. And it's absolutely disgusting. It's just basically racism 100%, and people blatantly saying they're neo-Nazis and they want to meet other neo-Nazis too, and whatever. And of course, there's a big discussion now. It's like, if this is a terrorist attack, if that is actually cyber terrorism, or if it's freedom of speech, or if it's basically a political statement against racism. But I just love that he came on stage as a Power Ranger. I mean, like, and you, as a conference organizer, and we are as well, like, you'd be like, shit, what do I do now? Like, what repercussions might that have? But so far, not much. Except for the web admin basically saying like, what about my data now? But yeah, it's interesting, absolutely fascinating to end the talk with that kind of thing. And it's a pink Power Ranger, obviously not the white Power Ranger.
They buried the lead there. They didn't even, because I've just reread that headline and I thought, have I imagined that, the Power Ranger being mentioned in there? Because the fact that it just says hacktivist deletes white supremacist website live on stage during pink Power Ranger is quite an important detail, but still, yeah, loved it. That was my favorite story to read this morning. I thought it was crazy, and I liked how, because I'm very much not going to say I'm au fait with any of their techniques in like hacking. It was the fact that it was just in this sort of plain English, like delete this website.net. Yes, proceed. Yeah. It was. I thought if only it is that easy, everybody would do it.
I mean, it's a classic case of like that every agent needs a harness around it. That's basically what I learned from that as well. Like, it's just like, and if you do horrible things, you should be good at protecting them as well. But maybe not. Maybe it's actually a good thing that they came out. Also interesting one, an amateur code breaker solved the Black Dahlia and Zodiac killings, because they hadn't been deciphered for years and years, and that's pretty cool as well. I have to say, like, that we finally get to see these. I don't know about Tarek. Do you have a partner? Are you married, or do you have somebody to live with you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Is she also into true crime shows as much as my partner is?
Oh, well, she loves the Murderer in the Building show.
Okay.
That one. It's pretty good. I don't know if she's in the true crime one, but yeah. It's she can sort of enjoy it. Yeah.
I love the difference between the shows. Like, the German shows are always like Mr. S of K killed 7 people, including Stephanie K and this person, and every face is blurred out. Like when they show like some paper, there's everything blacked out, and like everything is privacy and security. And American shows like Steve Johnson, the bastard, killed 7 people, and that's where he lives. That's where the killings happen. That's the name of his dog, and here is his last account of his bank. Like the difference in showing these true crime shows cracks me up. That basically like. That there's another thing was there was a sheep that actually got stuck on a mountain, and they had it in Switzerland, I think it was, and they had to rescue it. And the picture in the newspaper had like the black face out from the sheep.
Yeah, well, and I think it started in Germany to have all the how inside of the houses blurred in on Google.
Street View.
Yeah, Google Street View. It started there because people like complain. Well, like it was legitimate, and now I think it's everywhere. But that started in Germany, and like in France, we're always seeing German as the best people for privacy preserving stuff. Like it's our like baseline for privacy stuff.
Well, I was proposing to Google back then when Street View came out that they should actually give out free garden gnomes that automatically stop the car from taking photos. So that would be a great advertising to say like, hey, we protect your house by putting the garden gnome in front of it. But they didn't do it. Like all my great ideas that they didn't implement. It's really annoying. That might be something for Dan, and I found that interesting. Like what an unprocessed photo looks like. What is that about?
Yeah, it's quite clever. I mean, I think it's we've talked before about we like the fact that we see stories like this or kind of articles that are so in depth and so detailed, and somebody really had to go down a rabbit hole. But we're glad they did. I mean, I don't know how much you can take from it in terms of you know, going and kind of using that in your daily life. But it's interesting anyway that somebody kind of tries to reverse engineer it and see exactly what's happening to a photo to kind of go from that. Almost pre darkroom, if you put it in kind of real world, you know, kind of steps. But yeah, quite interesting. Yeah, good to see. I mean, I don't think I'll be going and copying it myself, but interesting article.
Yeah, it also showed the difference between the DSLR and the phone camera, like how much depth or difference is there, no matter how much you post produce afterwards. Another thing that I, sadly enough, read far too much about is that classical billiards is actually Turing complete. So basically, the way the balls interact on the table actually means that can be programming. You can program with it. And this is something if you're really bored and you can't sleep and you're really like, that's the kind of thing where my partner starts throwing things at me when I talk about these kind of topics. But I love that somebody made a paper of it.
I mean, I had to do an summary.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Like my first ever software project was building a billiard in assembly when I went to school in university. So we had to build all the algorithm about the impact and stuff like that. So now I want to read that.
Yeah.
And go back
so
to
did you also calculate the spin, or did you only calculate angle in, angle out?
Yeah, angles, and you know, it was like a French one with 3 balls. And we were trying to make it work, and it didn't work really well. So, but yeah, I should look at this paper. It's interesting.
One thing I also played with, and I also put that on the magazine, is that a lot of people don't know that yet. And let me just change the color so we can see it better. That you can do irregular shape rollovers in CSS. So what that means is that basically when you normally, okay, saved. Anyways, you see there's a box shadow here. That's the box shadow thing. And that is actually annoying because it's only the full size of the image. But if the image has transparency and you're actually interesting, okay, and you basically use drop shadow instead, then you actually get a proper shadow around the image itself. With an SVG, you can apply that to the path instead of the SVG element itself. And then you also have a rollover that only happens when you're really touching the pixels that are visible, which is something that in the browser you can't do unless you actually use a really, really old thing of mine that I wrote, which is 13 years ago. Yeah. I did this irregular shape rollover thing, which actually uses Canvas for that. So here you also see that the rollover only happens when you're directly on the pixels that are visible and not on the invisible ones. And I do that by copying the image over to a canvas and getting the mouse position and finding out if the pixel is a transparent pixel that you're on. It's performance-wise, it's actually not that bad. With the irregular drop shadows, it might actually be an issue that if you have a very complex image, then a box shadow is going to be much better performant, especially on a scrolling interface, because drop shadows are always very heavy to do. But I didn't know about filter drop shadow. And one thing that annoys me as well about it is like when you have a normal drop shadow on something, then you basically get an editor for it as well, which let me try to go set that here in the hover state. And then you got this box shadow here. And you can actually have a graphical interface to play with the drop shadow rather than having to know all the numbers themselves. Now, in this edition right now, if you use the filter drop shadow, this does not get triggered by the developer tools. So I filed an issue at Edge, which hopefully will be implemented soon. And then we will have that drop shadow on those as well, that we can actually do that. So just an idea, if you have irregular images, filter drop shadow makes more sense than box shadow, because otherwise the box will be just around the thing. Cool.
This one got me thinking, Chris, just on that, because I remember, God, it's got to be going back about 15 years or something, but I remember seeing something where, this was potentially even the days of like the late days of like PNGs for rounded corners type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing somebody do like a hover over map. And at the time, I remember trying to view source, and I was basically a teenager. I was looking at kind of trying to figure out how they had done this hoverable, changing colors, with these kind of really unusual shapes. And I think probably now, when you're saying canvas, it would be fairly straightforward by comparison. But was it just, thinking back to how people used to do this, was it just like absolutely positioned PNGs and there was no area, edge detection? It was just like square shapes and with transparent PNG sections? Or
there was one thing to do that. The other one was using image maps. The basic image maps are supported in HTML3.2. There used to be server-side image maps as well. Like if you put an ismap on an image, then actually when you click on it, it would send the X and Y as a URL parameter through it. So that's how people did it as well. But the idea was basically to put an image map on top of the image, and then you could have rectangular, but also circular, and also irregular lines. Interestingly, Illustrator 1, when you said save as HTML, it just did that. It just had one image and put an image map on top of it with things to click on.
Oh, if only I'd known, because it felt very much like a sort of slicing in Dreamweaver type thing, like where they just been really clever with loads of little slices. But yeah, I think you're right. Okay, I wish I'd known that. Illustrator 1.
There was 20 years late. Slicing tools as well. There were like a lot of them out there that actually then generated images and then JPEGs and GIFs, and it was interesting what things did. I have a new thing for us, which we haven't done before, which I blatantly stole from a show I saw on telly, which is called Fake or News. So I'm going to show you headlines, and you have to tell me if they're real headlines from the news or if I made them up. So let's start with the first one. Tech startups are handing out free nicotine pouches to boost productivity. Dan, what do you think?
No, I don't think it is. I saw the headline and I thought, no, that can't be really. But no, I'm going to say it's fake.
Tarek?
It's so unbelievable. I'm going to say it's true.
It is actually true.
Oh, come on.
It's tech startups are handing out nicotine pouches so people don't go out for smoke breaks and stuff.
Oh,
it's
my
true.
God. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's news.
Wow.
All right. Asking Grok to be a gangster and deliver results as a rap makes it give out illegal content like bomb recipes.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. I mean, it's so much chaos in one headline with Grok as the second word. I think that's true.
Yeah, that's
No,
Yeah.
I made it up.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Creativity
could
point
happen.
though for that.
Could happen.
US firm plans to fire lasers from satellites to power solar farms at night.
Definitely true. I think that is because they're talking about trying to, power AI from the moon or from Mars or whatever. So yeah, I'm going to say that's true.
I don't think it's true. I don't think
It is true.
Oh, it's true.
It is true.
Oh, it's mad enough, isn't it? It's the tech, visionary saying something crazy to try and get investment, I think.
Well, because I don't know, it's weird because my grandmother is pedaling on my home trainer to provide the electricity for my computer, but it's not very. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of.
You should get like 20 hamsters. There's more concurrency going on there, and there's actually more. Yeah.
That's the trick. Okay.
Tiny robots use sound to self-organize into intelligent groups.
Oh.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I don't know a lot about like sonar and things like that, but yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Sounds true.
It's true. It's used.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Cool. Anthropic's Claude code review discovers 20-year-old bug in MySQL, making it 2 times faster.
No, really, 20-year bug as well. I can't see that Claude would do. No, I'm going to say that's fake.
Well, something like that happened with Llama C++, like 6 months ago. They were able to like multiply by 2 or 3 the speed of specific stuff. So it's possible, but I don't know if it did really.
But it's fake.
Okay.
But it's fake. Who is who at X, the deepfake porn site formerly known as Twitter?
Who's who at X, the deepfake? Wait, the deepfake for. Okay, that's a very strange headline. Oh, wait, is that what it's saying? Hang on, I'm a bit confused by the headline. I'm going to say that it's a fake one. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what it means.
I don't really understand that headline. So,
It is interestingly enough a real one, and it's actually of all things, it's by Financial Times.
What?
And basically, they didn't hold back when they in their criticism of X.
Wow.
This is the New York. This is the Financial Times. I'm like, seriously? Wow.
Are they proving the sort of the guardrails are not there with Grok, and so they're making things with Grok to prove a point? I mean, wow.
I don't know, but it was very much shots fired. New minimal JavaScript engine needs only 10K of RAM, making work on Commodore 64 and Game Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the new Quick.js from the French guy, right? I think it's in news. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fake though, because it wouldn't run on a Commodore 64 and Game Boys because it needs 100K of ROM. So it needs an ARM processor to actually execute. But yeah, Quick.js is by the same guy who did FFmpeg, I think.
Yeah,
and,
he got a new one out last week, I think.
Yeah, and Redis actually said if 10 years ago this would have been around, they wouldn't have gone for Lua as the language, but you would have used JavaScript as well. But yeah, it's really tiny, it's really, really fast, but it's not fast enough for 8-bit machines, sadly enough. So I still have to write my my assembly on my C64. And that's it for Faker News. I think we're going to do that more. It's going to be more interesting to see. Maybe do it live on the Congress as well. I really like that idea. But yeah, it's yeah. Oh my God, I had it in there. I thought I forgot about that. Okay, so you could have read that up front. Good thing you didn't. Cool. Now, let's talk about AI and on-device. We can actually go through these links, but I don't think we actually should or need to. So, Tarek,
Yes.
I came up to, I invited you because of a blog post that you did on LinkedIn, where you basically where people were criticizing Firefox for now jumping on the AI bandwagon and putting AI on in the browser as well to analyze everything that you do. And Firefox has always been the browser that says, like, we don't record your keystrokes, we don't do the things that other browsers do. So there was a lot of criticism with it. and you came in completely defensive in terms of like, I work on this stuff, and let me tell you how much we do to make sure your privacy is actually not leaking and the things are there. One thing you worked on is PDF.js, right? The PDF engine. Now, what's the privacy problem with the PDF engine?
All right, so there is no privacy issue in the PDF engine. So let me go back to how we started AI in Firefox, because I came to Mozilla 2 years ago to start, like we were a team of two, me and another guy, Ed, and that's how we started to add AI in Firefox. And the initial project that we wanted to do, like there were two paths. So Ed focused on adding this sidebar that would open ChatGPT or LeChat or stuff like that, and that was not even using the API. It was just like an iframe, like you're on a website and it's just a shortcut, so you don't have to copy and paste the page content into the tool to get some actual features. And so that was all front end. And on my side, I focused on working on the back end, and I wanted to add local AI. I wanted to build something within Firefox that would be able to execute actual inference. And the thing we wanted to try is to try just like start with a very small feature. And it turns out that in PDF.js, you can add images. That's a feature. Like, for example, if you want to add your signature to a document, or if you want to add, I don't know, a picture of Red Panda into a document, you can do that and you can save it. And I was like, well, that's a good space. It's narrowed enough where we can start to add some features around AI. So what I did is I worked on integrated into Firefox a runtime. So we added Transformer.js with the WASM version of Onyx runtime to power AI in the browser. And I trained a very small model that's doing image to text. So you would add an image into your PDF.js, and it would suggest a title. And the idea was that we wanted to provide that for visually impaired folks. So like when you do something, well, you have that, which is a good idea, and we wanted to try it out, make sure it worked well before we would expand it to everything in the browser. So if you go to a website and someone forgot an alt text into an image, you would get this tiny sentence that described this image. So this is how we got started into adding AI in Firefox. So that's iframe kind of feature where you can plug your favorite AI chatbot or whatever, and that backend where we would power small models that we would download and run within your browser. And actually, if you go into the page about add-ons in Firefox, we've added a page where you can see all the models you downloaded, and you can see this model is used for that. You can delete it, etc. Full transparency, and everything runs locally. So there is no privacy concern for those features.
But that was always the thing, wasn't it? I mean, remember when I contributed back to Chromium, basically every 100K of the installer was being fought over. Like, oh no, we can't do that. Like, and now we have models on the machine. Like, how much more data is that's being downloaded for the user, or is it something that people can download their own models? Can they say like, okay, here's like 30 gig on my hard drive, go wild? But like, how do you make sure that people not clog up their computer just because of that feature?
Right. So this is why we have this page where you can delete those models if you want, and we try to keep them as small as possible. For example, the one for PDF.js is 280 megabytes on your drive, which is okay on desktop. It's not a lot, and it's downloaded lazily. You don't get it when you download Firefox. You get it only if you use the feature. So when you go there and you put an image, it tells you, hey, do you want to use AI for this image to provide alternative text? Yes, okay. And when you click, you get your progress bar. and you download that model for that feature, and it's only used for that specific feature. And we like this is 2 years ago when we started this. This was like the first wave of AI feature we added to the browser. We're based around that ID, having small laser-focused models that we can use to do specific stuff. So, for example, you have another one that's doing vector embeddings, and it's very small. It's like 30 megabytes or something. And this is not known by the community, but we had already AI in Firefox like 5 years ago. It's Firefox Translation, which uses another inference engine called Bergamot, which is a fork of MariaDB, which is specialized into translation. And it's not a LLM, it's a RNN, but it's the same stuff. It's generative text. And we have like, we're training a bunch of languages in the CI that produces one model per language. So for example, if you want to translate from German to French, it's going to download that tiny model that's like 10 megabytes, maybe 20 megabytes into Firefox Translation and use it to do the translation. And it's extremely fast because the way it's doing it, it's only iterating per sentence. So the input for the model is a single sentence. The model is small, so it's like a few milliseconds. So right now, if you try to translate a page, it's almost instant, and it's all running locally. And you know, when we started to add AI features last year and this year into Firefox, and there was some drama in the community about like legitimate question about AI into Firefox, like, hey, like we had Firefox installation. It's been around for a while, and no one complained about it because we didn't put the AI label on it, but it's like pure AI. And this is the AI I like small stuff. AI, like the fact that it's AI is just implementation detail. It's a functionality into a browser that is enabled by a inference engine, and that provides something really cool, I think.
Didn't Mozilla also work on a voice engine that runs on device, like synthesized voices that are not going to cloud?
Right. So like 4 or 5 years ago, the people involved into the W3C working group agreed Mozilla Firefox would implement audio speech recognition, and the other side around also. It's the web speech API for the web. And there were a few projects around that, but they all failed back then because models were not powerful enough to do that. But it's been revived, and Paul Adeno, who works in the media team, is actively working on that. He's adding audio speech recognition as we speak to Firefox. Because we're able to run a tiny inference engines based on Whisper C++ and Llama C++. Well, actually, Whisper was the first project, and Llama C++ came after, but they both have the same base lib. And we're going to be able to have this working on edge locally without running in the cloud. In most devices, it still requires a bigger model than what I do, for example, in PDF.js. But 0.4, 0.5 model starts to do some good stuff. The hardest part is audio speech recognition. It takes a lot of power, but because the other way around, it's a non-brainer. Nowadays, with a 50 million parameter model, you can do amazing stuff. Like, for example, you could try the Kokoro model out there. It's amazing. Like text to speech is a solved problem for Edge AI.
I think the interesting bit here is as well, like to me, all this feels like it's the job of the operating system, not of the browser itself. But then again, every browser maker now seems to be the thing. And I mean, one of the articles here is that everybody creates an AI browser, everybody creates an AI editor, based on Visual Studio Code and an insecure fork of it that allows you to execute all kind of code in the background that you shouldn't execute. Same with the browsers that actually allow extensions to do things that extensions shouldn't be doing. But it feels so weird that the operating systems weren't the first ones to do that. And Google, of course, has the benefit of having Gemini and actually bundle that with Chrome with both of their products. But Apple seemed to have missed the boat in that. Like their AI game is not in the browser at all.
Oh, it's coming. Like, for example, we worked on a project in Firefox iOS, which is not Gecko. It's not using at all the engine we have on desktop or Android. It's a full Swift application on the top of Blink, and we implemented a project called Shake to Summarize, where you shake your phone and you get a summary of the page. Well, I find it a little bit weird because when I shake my phone, it's usually for a bug, when you have a bug or something, But like, I'm not a UX person, and it turns out that a lot of people love this gesture for this. So I mean, it's very innovative, I guess. But what's happening in the background here is it looks at your phone. If you're a rich person with the iPhone 16 or better, then you have Apple Intelligence directly into your Apple system, and that environment provides everything you need to do summarization. It's a 3 billion model with LoRa adapter for summarization. It's doing excellent job for this, and that's what we use when we detect that. And it's not calling the cloud at all. And we have alternative way to do it. It calls a model in the cloud, a Mistral 24B model, to do the same stuff for now. But our hope is that the more we go, the more we'll use what's available on the system, so we don't have to call the cloud. And for Apple devices, the browsers are able now to reach the system, what the system provides for this.
Interesting. You talk a lot about Mistral. You also talked about Le Chat.
Yeah.
Is that your partner in most of these things? Is it because it's a French company or because the model is open?
Yeah, it's mostly because okay. So for Le Chat, it's because it's in the list of the things people want, and for Mistral on the server side, it's just the engineer team looked at the available models, and that model was a good choice to be able to do summarization with the cheapest cost possible on the server side. That was the main driver. So it's not like a partnership we have. It's just us as engineers. We say, yeah, we're going to use this one. It's the accuracy for summarization is great. So yeah, there is no partnership around that.
I just love that ChatGPT in French is chat GPT, which means cat I farted.
Yeah, my kids love joking about that.
It still sounds more
bad
beautiful in English, doesn't it?
But bad marketing, isn't it? Like, yeah. But yeah, I understand now the image generation, the alternative text generation was something that OneNote in Microsoft had as well as part of the operating system at one time locally. So these are the use cases that I think are very interesting. But how do you see the future of browsers in general right now? I mean, everybody seems to be doing their own browser, and it's really tricky to say, I've got this one and I'm using one. I'm using 3 different browsers for different use cases, but I'm also a nerd. And I think most people, when I worked for Firefox, I'm like, the biggest problem we had is like, it doesn't come as the first browser with the operating system. So people who don't know what a browser is wouldn't change it. And now it seems like everybody's jumping into these clever AI browsers that are to a degree just basically recording everything you do without your consent or without you realizing it. Do we trade convenience for security, or what do we do here?
Well, yeah, that's a lot of good questions. So I don't know what's going to happen with the browser and AI, because it changes dramatically. Like all the features I've described so far are small enhancement of existing classical browser. You just have like better features. Like, for example, the smart tab feature we added is just, hey, let's use AI to group your tabs, you know. So it doesn't break the mental model of what's a browser. And now you have all this new next-gen browser, AI-first browser that changes completely how you browse. You're not going to a website anymore. If you use something like Dia, you have this like unique input text, and you start to type. And at some point, it uses some heuristics to decide if you want to go on a Google search or if you want to interact directly with a chat bot. And if it's doing the latter, then you are into this interaction with a bot where eventually you get some web page opened and you do stuff with it, etc. But it's not a browser anymore. It's like you have this intermediate layer between you and the web, and everything changes. And I think right now, like we're early 2026. I don't know where it's going, to be honest. I have no, but I'm just an engineer, so that's my personal take on this. I have no idea where it's going to go, and I'm also a bit worried that it might create like some kind of a schism, like break between what it means to use a browser and what it means to be in like a tool where you're always interacting with an AI to do stuff on the internet. But then when you look at what OpenAI is, ChatGPT is exactly that. Like it's getting more and more powerful. The fact that it's running inside a browser that is not owned by OpenAI is it becomes an implementation detail. You're staying in their universe, and then they do the search for you. They run search inside this interaction you're having with the chat. But maybe I'm old, but I still want to have this browser where I'm in full control of what I'm doing on the internet. And I think it's another breed, another set of products we're seeing there. And I'm not sure we should call them browsers. I don't know.
It's tricky. I mean, there's much dependency on there as well. It's brittle to a degree. I mean, now when we say like, okay, we don't have electricity in some parts of Berlin. I mean, if you can't do anything with a computer if you're not online, I feel that's weird. Like, but that's because I remember not being online. I remember having to dial up and these kind of things. Other people never had that issue. They don't even know what it means. But I still think there's like, I'd rather have transparency and be able to do things while I'm on a train with the machine than just have this magical machine that always gives me the one answer that is the one that they want to show me. The choice thing is weird.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money at stake. Like, I mean, companies like OpenAI, if they own your browser, they own the search, and they own the LLM. Well, they own you. Like this is full circle. It's you're gonna stay in that silo, pay for some money every month, so you get all that. And yeah, it's really like going to be interesting, like the next 5 years or so. And I'm also wondering if it's because I'm old and I'm in that generation that knew what a browser was. Like a lot of studies show that people like the next generation, they don't know what a browser is anymore. It's like for them, they just go on TikTok and that's it. I mean, they don't have the same mental model we do have our generation. So I'm not sure.
Cool. That's a depressing thing to end on. So we're all old. We're all not necessary anymore. But it's great to have you here. It was great to talk about that because I found it really interesting. And I mean, the good thing about Mozilla is always like when you do things like that, there is a track record. There's code you can look at. There's comments you can look at. You can see what you've been doing. And a lot of other open source AI companies are living off privacy. They're living off like keeping things close to their behind bars, and basically you can't see what they're doing. At Mozilla, at least you always know what's going on. And when the new CEO announced that they're going all in on AI as well, and the second thing then came like, and we have a kill switch, it showed that is actually necessary. So it's great to see. So thanks very much, Tarek, for being here. Any
Well,
last
thanks for
words you have
having
for our
me.
audience?
Thank you.
Any
Thanks
last
for
words you
having
have
me.
for our audience?
Sorry, what?
Any last message you have for our audience to be better people afterwards?
Happy New Year, I guess.
Cool. Dan, what about you? Last words?
Yeah, Happy New Year again, and we're going to be here all year. And as we said at the end of last year, it's always interesting to see the conversations you had right at the start of the year, and if they actually turned into anything of significance, come the end of the year. So maybe we'll have to get you back in the final week of the year, Tarek, and we can do a look back. But thanks for joining us.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, lots of stuff happening with We Are Developers. Our congresses are still on. You can send us CFPs, get more and more people. You can also send in a paper if you want to talk in Berlin or in San Jose, Tarek. That will be interesting to have. One last question. Any one of you know what the family name of Yoda from Star Wars is?
No.
It's Leahy-Hu.
Okay.
I don't get it. That's the first one I haven't got.
Yoda Leahy-Hu.
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, that was terrible.
It as well.
It was terrible. And with that, thanks very much. And see you soon. That was We Are Developers Live for today.
Thank you.